Alright, developer log for August 2025. This is probably going to be one of the more interesting developer logs because I've been able to make a lot of improvements related to the game, because I'm currently reworking level 1, 2 and 3. The first rework of basically the first pass of level 1 is already done. I will show it later on. Yeah, so the reason why I'm reworking levels is because level 1 and level 2 are easily the worst levels currently in the game, and I want to make an update for the demo with all of the gameplay improvements. So currently I am refining a lot of stuff. One of the more noticeable things right now is that I now have the first version of a proper UI. So previously I only just had floating text as a UI, and now I actually have UI elements. So there's now a health bar, so if I have something to damage myself, you can now see that there's a health bar that ticks down. I still have the health number available, so you can know exactly how much health you have. So there are 3 bars related to armor. So previously, of course, there was only armor and health, and I've added shields basically because I didn't want robotic enemies to drop health packs as a comeback item. So enemies, if you're on low health, enemies drop comeback items, and I did not want that to be health packs for robots. That's literally the only reason why I had shields. Now I have further implemented shields into the game, integrated shields into the game, because one of the issues was that because you could only get shields from enemy drops, you pretty much never had a full enemy drop. As a matter of fact, you pretty much never had more than 30 shields, and that usually results in one attack immediately destroying the shields. So there are now shield pickups in the level. They don't automatically get applied. You have to manually consume them, and that will fill your shield bar. So the reason why I've done that, like why do I not have the shield automatically open up? Like if I'm, let's reload. If I am damaged, so the way med packs work is that if you are health packs heal for 40 health. If you have less than 40 missing health, you will automatically, no, if you have more than 40 missing health, you will automatically use the health pack, otherwise you will pick it up. The shield pack you will always just pick up. So the reason why I've done that is because shields prevent status effects. So if you have a shield, you can prevent status effects by fire, for example, or by shock. So what I noticed while playing is that I don't like it when I have a shield and then I'm fighting enemies that don't do status effects, and then I lose my shield. Anyway, like it is a lot better to also use your armor. So if you have armor, your armor gets consumed at the same time your health gets consumed. And if you have always your shields available, you just waste your shields on random stuff. So the shields are really meant for if you are having a tough fight, or if you are fighting enemies that do status effects, you can basically give yourself just a short bit of little extra health to survive, basically. I mean, not health, but hit points. And that's basically the reason why I've decided to have shield packs be a consumable. So if you are having a tough fight, you can use your shields, otherwise you should be using your armor and health to take damage. Because again, if you are always using your shields, let's say you always apply shields, you would just waste your shields. So yeah. Let's talk about another improvement that's been made. Sliding no longer has the legs always pointing forward. So the legs will now, if you are now sliding or lying down, your body will now move along. Now you will turn around, but the position where your body is pointing will always be in the same direction. So if you slide forward like this, again, your legs. Also, if you slide backwards, I've made it so that your feet will always point forward. If whether you're sliding backwards or forwards. You can also notice that there is now rotation for the weapon when you are moving. So the weapon now moves slightly to the left, rotates slightly to the left if you move to the left, or rotates slightly to the right if you move to the right. And when you are lying down, the weapon rotates a lot. So if you're lying on your right side, you can see this, and if you're lying on the left side, the weapon will now correctly do this. Now, there's one issue that I still need to solve, and that is that if you are in geometry, it should rotate your body to a better position. It doesn't look too bad in first person, but if I go to third person instead of first person, you'll see that I'm completely in the wall, which is not good. So that's something that still needs to be fixed, but other than that, it works very beautifully. Another small gameplay improvement, now not a gameplay improvement, but a small fix is that I have to turn on Cena mode. for this. Blood spatters now finally rotate. This is something that should have been done ages ago. But yeah, we now have rotational blood spatters. Blood spatters usually just always spawn in the same rotation. And they now... You can see they now always nicely rotate to where the bullet logically would end up. So yeah. So that's nice. Fire. Let's talk about fire. So fire now has a proper effect. It used to just show debug squares. Now this is probably going to lag. That is just... Okay, no. Sometimes it lags when it explodes for a very long time. That's just because of the editor. Like, it's not in a combat game. But yeah. It's now a nice fire effect. So I can stand in it. Again, I don't get a on fire stays effect because I have shields. But if my shields break, now I am on fire. Let's talk about something else that you probably already noticed. So, enemies now have damage numbers. When you shoot an enemy, a damage number will pop up, which tells you exactly how much damage you did. There is now also better locational damage. So previously there was only one bone that could do critical damage. Now there's basically, you can add a list of bones to an enemy that shows different damage types. So if I shoot him in the leg, you will notice that I only do 9 damage. If I shoot him in the head, this is a critical hit, I do 18 damage. And it will actually tell you that you did a critical hit. So yeah. What else it does, even besides that, I have to reload and focus casino mode again. Some weapon types actually also show different damages. So fire damage will show up in red, for example. Can you crit? Yeah. So it says it crits, but because the flamethrower has no critical hits modifier, it still does 25 damage. Same goes for. So now we'll have to show a shield enemy. So that's for an enemy with a shield, which is going to be one of the robots. So if you hit a shield, you will always get a cyan thingy. So here you go. So how much damage did? And then because the shield was gone, I could actually do fire damage. Then there's also one final thing, also different. So now I have to grab a. Should have prepared this. Rhino shields. Yeah, I can use this weapon and then I'll turn Cena mode on so he doesn't attack me. So yeah, shields will show a block. So it will show a block fee prefix if it tells you that you block damage. So now you have a better sign that you know that you block damage. I probably also want to add like an additional sound or some type of additional cue just beyond the block, but at least you will now you will be able to tell like, oh, he blocked the damage. So yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, another thing I can talk about is that the revolver has been improved. So the revolver was one of the ugliest weapon models I had. That was mostly because of the grip. So I've updated the textures and I've also updated the animation. No, I've updated the model, the textures, and I've also added a new animation. So the character will now spin the, what do you call it, the chamber before she clicks it back. Yeah, you should. I know if you know anything about weapons, you should not do that with a real gun because you can like bend stuff. But hey, it's a video game. It looks cool. So let's go to the level. Actually, I could just go from the main menu to the level. Demo episodes. This will load the first level, which I've reworked. So yeah, the level has been reworked. It's no longer just a super linear level of just hallways, hallways, and rooms. It now has better interconnection between basically everything, and it just looks overall better. So that is the new tile set. There is no ceiling because this is the first pass. Like I will generally speaking probably do 3 passes for each level. Like basically an alpha pass where I can play through the level, a beta pass where I fill in most of the missing props and other potentially missing stuff like missing ceilings, stuff like that. And then there's a third pass which basically is meant to fully finish the level. And the unit in contact. These melee robots, they can now run. They used to just walk at half speed, but now they actually run at you, which is a lot better. because they were just so slow, they were never a threat. Now they are more of a threat. I've also improved mirrors. So mirrors are now a lot more performance friendly because they actually call distant objects. I actually stopped using mirrors for levels because they just lag too much, but with the new performance improvements I can actually add them back in. When it comes to performance, the game is still completely GPU bound. There is the only time when it's not GPU bound is there are so many enemies that the animation system becomes too expensive. So I still have to also do, so the two places where I still can get a lot of performance bonuses is having better level of detail for skeletal meshes. Like not all skeletal meshes currently have level of detail. So all skeletal meshes that are in the demo should have a level of detail. So that's something I still need to work on. And another thing I need to work on is shadows. So shadows are currently fully high poly. So all of the shadows that you see, and this is especially bad with mirrors because they double all of the shadow costs. Pretty much every time when the game lags, when the game goes into low frame rate, it's because of shadows. There are too many skeletal meshes that have high resolution shadows that just really hurt the performance. So what I need to do is use LOD shadows, which means is that there is a LOD mesh under an invisible LOD mesh that casts the shadows instead of the high poly mesh, and that works a lot better. Oh yeah. Another thing that I just forgot was that the shotgun is now the first weapon you get. The shotgun is just a better weapon to give. I think the shotgun is just a better weapon to give first, and then give the rifle, the SMG, later on. Because it's just a more satisfying weapon, and giving the more satisfying weapon immediately is just better. So here you will get the SMG. I mean, technically it's a personal defense weapon since it doesn't fire machine gun rounds, pistol rounds. So yeah, this is also all of the new tile set. Instead of just having these pre-made hallways, I have these completely modular rooms that you've already seen in many other maps. I actually have to focus here. Alright. So you see all of the health drops. I have updated a lot of the pickups. So the pickups for small arms and shotguns used to use a very antiquated design. They use like old metal boxes from like the 60s. They now have just proper like modern looking or futuristic looking ammo crates that are more plasticky, more logical instead of like old-fashioned metal ammo boxes. The small arms actually look a lot better. Also the small arms I have to correct caliber. Oh, this is not properly aligned. Okay. That's why it's an alpha version. Yeah, here again, see the mirror. Back in. No performance. I mean, it still runs well above 60. Actually, this runs full 120, I believe. Well, I go to the last area that I want to show, and it's the gym. So, okay. Usually it doesn't take that long to load the level, but yeah, we're going to a new sub-level, so it has to load like a level. Here you see the new ammo boxes. Look great. They're also a lot bigger, so you can see them better. That's actually something for all pickups, like all pickups are now better. And oh, there's no glass here. There should be glass, but looks like I missed one. Kinda funny, I've playtested this like 30 times now, and this is the first time I see it, but that's obviously because I'm playing differently now that I'm talking. So yeah, so here, there's the gym. So the gym now actually looks like a proper gym instead of, whatever that first version was that I had. Now it looks like a proper gym. Actually, I'm gonna exit. So the old one just looked like a random room, and now it actually looks like a gym. So yeah, that's nice. Also, you'll notice that I have way better interconnectivity between the play areas. So you will play through this area, and then eventually, of course, you will get down there. That's something that is very important in level design. It's just have the levels show up again in later areas. So you see an area and it's like, yeah, you will be in that area later on. So obviously you'll eventually reach this specific place here. So you go through here, and then you enter here, and then you're like, oh, I saw this earlier. You know, interconnectivity through the levels, make the levels feel like a real place. That's really something I now do, which I tried to do it, but I wasn't very good at it at the beginning of my level design journey. But now it's a lot better. I also use reflective maps now a lot more. I used to not use these, so this is just a reflective cube map that reflects these light sources. It's not a perfect reflection because it's a cube map, but it's enough, and if you're just playing you don't notice that it's not 100% correct. I also have these manual light shafts, so I love light shafts. I always try to do them with the built-in fog mechanic of Unreal, but the problem is it never looked right. It was very expensive, and I now have just said, screw it, I'm going to just have manual light shafts. So these are just objects. So at this point I think I can go to the level editor. So let's go to the level editor. Maps, E1, M1, save, sure. So this is level 1 now, the full remake of level 1. Where is this? Oh, this is the end of the level. Should be here. So this is where we just were, this is the lobby. So that goes to the gym area, and that goes to the... So this is biolabs, so... Yeah, the gym area is basically part of like the soldier enhancement facilities. I need to always add signs and stuff to like make it clear what everything is. And that goes to the creature containment area. That's the more spooky area. So oh yeah, so also the demon enemies will now appear in level 1 instead of level 2. So you will fight the demon enemies earlier on. There's also a fun infighting area where the enemies will basically spawn and they will infight with the soldiers. So yeah. I want to just introduce them earlier on, because again, I think they're just more fun to fight, and otherwise you just fight soldiers for a very long time. And I think adding the dynamic between soldiers and demons is very important to introduce earlier on, because in the previous iteration of level 1, now I've not yet started with level 2 rework, but in the old version you would only fight demon enemies at the end of level 2. Which means you had to go through 1 3/4 of a level just fighting soldiers. Of course, there were also the robots who give a bit of a different enemy type, but yeah, the demons are just so different that, again, I need that dynamic between fighting soldiers, fighting demons as soon as possible, just to get better variety. So yeah, you have to fight through this area. You will also fight like the big flying enemies later on, they get introduced here. So you have to fight your way through this place and then grab the key card here. So you have to do backtracking. So you backtrack to both the gym and the creature area. So basically you go to the central lobby. The way the level is designed is you go to the central lobby and then you have basically 3 places to go. And you can tell by the key cards where you need to go. So this is the orange key card, the golden key card, that's always the last one. I've always made it so that the colors correspond to which one you actually expect to get first. So this one has no key card. So this is the room you need to go to, and you need the blue key card. No, the blue key card you get to leave your containment area. You need the purple key card to get here. So here's the purple key card. So you need the purple key card to get into the creature containment area, and then from the creature containment area you get the orange key card, and then from there you can go there. So you have to backtrack to this lobby a bunch of times, and then new enemies show up. But yeah, it's a lot better than just the completely linear design that I had in the first. I mean, it was not completely linear, I had some backtracking, but this is just a lot more organized and well thought out. So yeah, so then you fight through here, and then you go to engineering. So I will be starting this month with engineering, level 2. So yeah, I don't know when demo version 3 will come out. I hope before the end of this year. That would be very nice. Because again, I'm just not happy that there is even a demo available right now. Like, compared to how the gameplay is right now compared to the version that's right now on Steam. It's just such night and day, and I kind of want to make an improved version as quickly as possible so I can put that on Steam so people no longer have to play kind of like the shit the V2 version of the demo. So once I have demo version 3, I might actually start doing guerrilla marketing, like see if I can direct people to the demo through either YouTube comments or through Reddit or some other way. I don't know, because right now the game is in a much better position. Oh yeah, and one final thing I wanted to talk about, so I have to go back to the developer map, which is also a really big improvement. That's the final thing, because I think I've already have a massively long devlog right now. I've changed enemy collision detection for AI avoidance. So for AI avoidance, I used to have my own self-made collision detection that's used here, but it just didn't work. And I now use Unreal's built-in navigation detection. Not brilliant, but it works. So the way it works now is that instead of having some complicated system where it like tries to avoid each other, it just uses the dynamic navigation system. So what I do is you can have dynamic obstacles in your game. Now these are expensive as hell, but what I do is that when two enemies of the same faction collide with each other, both of them will turn on their dynamic navigation adjustment thingy, and it will make it so that they will walk around. This will stay active for 2 seconds, I believe, or 2-3 seconds, and then it will disable again to save performance, but that will allow them to walk around each other, so the AI just doesn't endlessly bump into each other. Again, I used to have a system for that myself, which was very cheap in performance, but again, it often did not work. In many, like it always worked in this scenario, but this is just too perfect of a scenario. There we go. And the Unreal one just works 99% of the time. So yeah, AI now has much better navigation around each other. Also, another thing is that I finally fixed the issue where the enemies had a tendency to shake in place. So what would happen is that the enemies would get two conflicting paths, where the enemy would say like, take this path to reach the enemy, and then there would be, no, take this path to reach the enemy. And what would happen is the enemy would fluctuate between the two paths and it would just shake in place. If you look at my old devlogs or like the gameplay I have, you will see this absolutely enemies do, and that has finally been fixed. Finally has that been fixed, because I've added, I can't remember how I fixed it, but again, it's too long to explain. The devlog is already too long. Goodbye.